orders, international orders. I'll make it clear to you by talking about the Cold War, the unipolar moment, and the present. When I grew up during the Cold War, we had three orders. Two of them, which were the most important orders, were bounded orders. The Western Order, which is sometimes mistakenly called an international order, was run by the United States. It was set up by the United States to wage the Cold War. It was basically run by the United States. That Western Order included NATO, it included the World Bank, the IMF, the European Community. All of those institutions were bundled together in the Western Order, which was initially designed to manage the Cold War. The Soviet Union, which was the other great power in the system, was not in the Western Order. The Soviet Union had an order of its own. It had a bounded order. That bounded order included Comecon, the Warsaw Pact, and the successor organization to the Communist International. So these two bounded orders waged the Cold War. We also had an international order. That international order included the United Nations, because the United States and the Soviet Union were both in that institution. They were in that order. So the UN, a variety of arms control agreements, the NPT, they were all part of this thin international order. But the thick orders that really mattered during the Cold War were the Western Order and the Communist Order. Two bounded orders and a thin international order. Then you all remember the Cold War ends in 1989. In December of 1991, the Soviet Union collapses and we go into the unipolar movement. By definition, there is only one great power on the planet. That's the United States of America. We are now in a position where the bounded orders disappear. The Soviet order disappears. The Soviet Union disappears. No more Warsaw Pact, no more Comecon, so forth and so on. What the United States does as the only great power on the planet is that it takes its bounded order, that Western order, and it makes it a truly international order. That's the order, that's the liberal international order. You get a really potent international order for the first time because you only have one great power on the planet. And remember, as I told you, when you have only one great power on the planet, and that one power writes the rules for the institutions and manages the order, you're going to have what we had during the unipolar moment. Well, roughly around 2017, what happens to the unipolar moment? It disappears. We're now in a multipolar world. You all understand that. There are three great powers on the planet: the United States, China, and and Russia. United States, China, and Russia. And the two most powerful states in that system, in this multipolar system, are the United States and China. So the question you want to ask yourself is, what is happening today in Asia? Well, just like the Cold War, you're getting two bounded orders, and you're going to end up with a thin or superficial international order. Just think about the Chinese. BRICS. The United States isn't in BRICS. China's in BRICS. Think about the Shanghai Cooperative Organization. Think about Belt and Road. Think about the AIIB. These are all Chinese-led institutions. The Chinese are also forming military alliances with countries like Pakistan, countries like Russia, countries like Laos, countries like Myanmar. This is hardly surprising at all. You're getting a bounded order in East Asia. At the same time, the United States is doing the same thing. The Quad, AUKUS, tightening up of the bilateral alliances involving the United States and Japan, the United States and South Korea, the United States and the Philippines. You're going to get two bounded orders in Asia, in East Asia, and those two bounded orders are going to wage a wicked security competition, just like the United States and the Soviets did during the Cold War. Now, you're saying to yourself, what does this have to do with APEC? The answer is very simple. APEC is an international institution, right? It's an international institution, and it's part of the international order. A really good example here you want to think about is the WTO. In 2001, the United States brought China into the WTO with great enthusiasm from first the Clinton administration, then the Bush administration. The World Trade Organization was going to help make China rich. We were really enthusiastic about that. Where is the World Trade Organization today? It's in the toilet bowl. It's in the toilet bowl. Why? We went from unipolarity to multipolarity. And you all understand, once you're in the world of multipolarity, great power security competition is back on the table. And when great power security competition is back on the table, and you've got at least two great powers in the system, you end up with bounded orders. And you still have an international order. You still have a United Nations. You still have a WTO. You still have APEC. But they are thin institutions. They do not matter that much. The bounded orders matter the most. Why? Because security always trumps economics. And therefore, APEC, which grew up in the unipolar moment and flourished in the unipolar moment, is now in an environment, multipolarity, that is not conducive to growth. It's not conducive to doing a lot to facilitate prosperity and security in Asia. So that is, in a nutshell, my basic story about where APEC is today and where it's headed. Thank you.